Hi, you guys. I'm Taylor and I am back. I'm talking about the Pluto retrograde happening in the sign of Capricorn at 29 degrees that will be taking place on June 11th, right? The same day that Mercury ingresses into the sign of Gemini. So they're both going to be moving into those positions on June 11th or the 12th, depending on your time zone. And the Pluto retrograde will be ending October the 10th, which means that it'll remain in that sign for 6 months and then it'll go direct. And then Mercury in Gemini will be trans that same day until the 26th. So what does this mean? Well, we have Mercury in Capricorn retrograde, which means that we are being called to go back and to assess things, right? Pluto retrograde is a time of deep reflection. It's a time of elimination, a time of figuring out what is the true problem here. With it being in the 29th degree of Capricorn, I like to say that it's that adult, that authority figure that says, let's go. It's time for you to come into my office. This is what Pluto retrograde is doing for all of us. It's time for you to come into my office because you are in deep trouble. How are we in deep trouble? Is because we weren't responsible over our pain, because we did not look deep enough into contract our own structure that fit our needs. And so now it's retrograded back in the sign of Capricorn, and we have to see if we're able to be manageable in terms of managing ourselves, our own emotion, mastering our own transformation, holding ourselves accountable for the things that we experience, so that the time that Pluto does go direct on October the 10th will transform into this executive that we've been meaning to be. October 2020, we had that chance, but it's calling us to revisit. There's a little detail that we missed. You know how you have those teachers, those bosses, any authority figure, and they ask you to come back for a moment and they read over your work and they say, you missed this, dot your I, cross your T's. This is a run-on sentence, something that you didn't do right for the manager to pick on you. That is how I am seeing Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, but it's for a greater good because it's causing us to execute plans that will change some type of structures that affect us all. Now, as you guys know, if you live in the West, specifically the United States, we are having a Pluto return. We're going back to a Pluto return, and we're asking ourselves questions about the government. Back in quarantine, we ask even more questions. I know people from around the world that come to this country and our state that say America is known for its crazy conspiracy theories. You know, I didn't even know that people believe or even listen, give a second thought to people who have these conspiracies. But because of the United States and the free will we have around technology and finding things for now, we're able to expose things about the government that government does not want us to know. So we ask ourselves, like we were asking then, back in 2020 around October, how has tradition, in a sense, affected us? How has it served us? Does the government, the banking system, the healthcare, the education system really care about us? And what is the status quo anyway? We're called to re-examine what tradition is, how this has affected us in a psychological way, to where we don't have any peace, to where the government has ruled with an iron fist in ways that we don't agree with, that are not healthy for us. And so now not only are we trying to fix our own executive power in our personal lives, but the government during this time in the US and across the globe, but specifically in the US because of the Pluto return, you're going to see a lot of countries, and I could see kind of like United Nations coming together to keep the people calm. But see, because the stars tell the stories in our lives and around the world, our specific specialized time periods in which we are experiencing life, Pluto will turn direct in Aquarius someday, and there won't be stopping anybody by government, by religion, by food, by medication. A revolution will take place, but for now, everybody has to go back into their own secret closets, rearrange a few things, plan a few things, because Capricorn is the best planner, if you ask me, and it's the best goal executor. We're asking ourselves, no, we're being demanded to execute a plan for ourselves, so that when we have this freedom and Pluto goes direct in Aquarius, we will still find our way back. Pluto is retracing our steps back to do the hard work. That Capricorn part of your chart is going to demand for you to retrace your steps. You can't cheat on this quiz. You can't trick the universe to strategize. You're going to have to go and do the inner work, the deeper work, the research, and spend time in cultivating what Pluto is demanding for you, the Capricorn area of your chart. It is a slow process. You can't cheat yourself out of it. The universe will take Pluto and whip your ass with it. It will purge you because we want to rise up out of this retrograde as phoenixes and then as revolutionary in that order that Pluto is traveling in. On June 11th, we will have Mercury in Gemini, and it will be sextiling Pluto. What does that mean? Mercury in Gemini, in fact, the sign of Gemini, is known for calling things down to earth, for being the master manifester. It's light, it's airy, it's fun. And sometimes in order for you to manifest things, you have to make things light and airy and fun, because it takes this effortlessness, this ease for the universe or spirit to come in and for things to manifest on that level. Mercury in Gemini is about using your mind power, speaking things into existence. Maybe you should use your words, something that can empower you, right? Because Pluto is retrograde, which means that you need to find your inner resources, be able to cultivate a new you. Mercury sextiling Pluto weighs a heavy hand. If you do research, you'll find something good that will actually benefit you. You may want to keep some of these plans a secret, especially because Pluto will be retrograding. Mercury and Gemini makes us want to tell everybody, but Pluto's kind of like, shh, just be quiet just for a moment. All right, so that is my forecast on the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, along with Mercury and Gemini. So now I'm going to talk about the signs that will be affected by this. So for Aries, you'll have Pluto retrograding in the 10th house of career status and superior. So what it's calling you to do is retrace your steps when it comes to your vocation or where you want to be in life, how you want to be seen. It's asking you, has the path to success been psychologically challenging for you? Who you're striving to be, is it a better version of yourself, or is it an egotistical version of yourself? Is it psychologically more damaging to come off as something you're not? And do you even know who you are? You would want to clean up your mindset. Aries is a mental sign, whether you realize it or not, because Aries rules the head. You have to fix the head to know where you're headed to. And that's what Pluto is asking for you when it comes to retracing your steps back in the 10th house. Pluto will be sextiling Mercury, which will be in your 3rd house of communication. Mercury transiting your 3rd house is going to make your motor mouth. You're going to have a very busy mind. You're going to be wanting to zip through here and there and just share anything that you've discovered, because once you discover something exciting that could lead you on a path that you strive to be on, you want to tell anybody, right? Because the natural response is to find people to celebrate with. But that hasn't always been the case with you. Some people have stabbed you in the back in regards to your work. So I say keep your plans for success to yourself. Don't tell anybody for the next 6 months until October goes direct. Now, Taurus, Pluto will be retrograding in your 9th house, or in the area of beliefs, higher learning, and travel. So you're going to be revisiting some belief systems. Tauruses really get stuck in a mindset that for most, it's not very beneficial to them. Taurus is a very easy sign to get stuck at. They get hoofs in the mud and not change anything. And even though that's admirable that you state your claim and you stand in what you say and you're immovable, it can also be a downside of being stagnant. It can also show you that you may be returning to some type of belief system, maybe a faith that you grew up with or a faith that you gave up on that you were revisiting. And you ask yourself, did somebody cause you this disbelief? Was it a professor? This is in the area of higher learning. Are you thinking of going back to school? Are you thinking of going back to church? But maybe it takes a while for you to accomplish something in that arena. And because of the mindset that you have, kept you in the same space. So maybe Pluto retrograde is teaching you how to restructure your belief system so that when you can head back into the world, you won't have such a defeatist mindset, or mindset that things will never change until you see it. You have to believe it first. And yes, I'm preaching to myself as a Taurus rising. Now you'll have Mercury in the 2nd house, which means you'll be thinking of accumulating money from multiple areas. You'll be spending a lot of money on knowledge, picking up books that's psychological, that could be darker, or it can be about astrology, whatever. You are devouring these pieces, all these bits of information you can find because you're looking for an answer. You are looking for that higher knowledge. And whether you believe that you are agnostic, you don't believe in anything, if it's not concrete, you are searching for something to believe in, and Pluto is calling you back to find out exactly what that is. And so asking you to forge your own path, but forging a path that can really transform you. But you would have to take a risk and dive into the darker recesses of what caused you not to believe and who taught those things to you. Gemini. Pluto will be retrograding in the 8th house, in the area of psychology, death, occult, and other people's money. You'll be revisiting areas of mental health, the unknown and unforeseen problems that exist that you probably smiled over, but you still know that they exist because it's affecting your overall health, right? You could be having back problems, you could be having breathing problems, and you think that, well, I've done my stretching, I've done my affirmations, but there's still something that Pluto is calling you back to. It wants you to go back and search to see if you have any more demons hiding in your closet, metaphorically, and they want you to get to the depth of things because it affects your health. With Mercury and Gemini transiting your 1st house, it's only going to give you more anxiety. It's going to make you more into a busybody. It's going to have you stirred up. It's something that you know that's going to be revealed to you that you're excited about, or you might fear, but it will benefit you in the end. Turn back to a healthcare professional, especially one that's dealing with psychology or trauma. Cancer. You will have Pluto retrograde in the 7th house of relations and contracts. You'll be revisiting how you treat others or how they've treated you. Partners that have come back as a blast from the past, because Capricorn rules the past. Yes, this is a test. This person may trigger you. This person or these people that you interacted with could trigger some trauma that affected you in the past that could be stopping you subconsciously from experiencing your own joy, or it might have stopped your creativity for a while. Mercury in the 12th house is going to be stirring up your subconscious. So this is another sign that's going to be reconsidering counseling. You may find yourself having more dreams, picking up on more messages, becoming more clairaudient. Listening to that inner voice can also help you vet your partners or vet the people that you interact with one-on-one. Pick up on their spirit and see what hunches you get from them. That's what Pluto is asking of you. The sign of Leo. Pluto will be retrograding in the sign of health and routine. Okay, so Leo, do you have heart problems? Is there something that you're experiencing in regards to back pain? There's something about your health that needs to be revisited in those areas. They're calling you to reconstruct, become a boss when it comes to taking care of your health, figuring out a routine that works for you, and actually doing the hard work to make sure that you're healthy, you're hardy, and you are organized. When you are disorganized, your emotions are disorganized, your home is disorganized, your home is a mess. And then in return, you are a mess, because it all starts with your own physical body. It goes hand in hand. If you're not taking care of your body, you're not taking care of your emotions, you're not taking care of your home. Pluto is saying revisit any health scares that you might have experienced back in October 2020. I don't know whether you should get the I hope you know what I mean. But you will have Mercury transiting the area of 10th house. No, it's actually in the 11th house. The area of groups, friends, dreams. Maybe you want to enter an organization that deals with a specific illness that you have. So connecting with people who have that same scare can help relieve you. And you can have this camaraderie that's emotionally supportive with that. There could be someone in your circle that could reveal something about what's been happening in the workplace, or who's been gossiping about you in the workplace. So also watch out with that, but always keep your health and your peace of mind. Virgo, Pluto will be retrograding in the 5th house of fun and creativity. I don't know if you Virgos really know how to have fun, or if they experience some trauma around fun or dating, to where they are no longer open to trusting, or no longer to dreaming, or no longer to have this bright outlook on their lives. I don't know if some of you Virgos have had some trauma with your children, if your children are dealing with depression, your children are acting out, or maybe not motivated, and you're depressed yourself. You don't know how to have fun anymore, and you suffer some trauma around that as well. Pluto is asking you to revisit your light where you can find that inner joy. It's okay to be responsible and all that stuff and take care of who you are, but it's also okay to have fun just as long as it's in bounds and you are having fun in a responsible way. Now, you will be having Mercury in the 10th house. So what that means, with Mercury sextiling Pluto in the 5th house, it can mean that with Mercury transiting the 10th house, a lot of ideas around your vocation. You could be focusing more of your energy when it comes to putting yourself out there in the world. With Pluto being in the 5th house sextiling Mercury at that time, it could reveal to you that the bliss that you find in your 5th house can actually lead you on a road to recognition. So that's also a good thing, right? Remember that having fun doesn't always end up in bad times. It can lead you to where you need to be. So stop tripping about the future. Tap into that inner child, and the inner child will lead you on your way to the yellow brick road or to nirvana. I don't know. All right, so that's my advice for Virgos. Libras, Pluto will be retrograding the 4th house of your emotions, of your home, of your ancestry. So maybe there have been some trauma around that. Maybe you have had a psychological or emotional breakdown back in October 2020, which is understandable because we were kind of locked in the house. Or maybe it was just an era where you were forced to look at your home and see that it wasn't organized. Your emotions weren't organized. There's some trauma surrounding your family that you did not want to deal with. But Libra, we know that you want to avoid confrontation. That's not always a good thing. So maybe you should go back and reconsider dealing with your family so that we won't have to have this test again with the retrograde and Pluto. There's no way that you can run from it. But when you fix that, that poison that's been hanging around in your body, in your heart, in your family or your ancestry, it can heal how you see yourself, and you get go in alignment with what you truly value in a family, what your emotions tell you that you should value, which Pluto does all that counseling in your 4th house. And then with Mercury in the 9th house dealing with higher learning, when you find out what you value, it could lead you on a road to higher learning. Mercury being your 9th house. So now you want to get in depth with things. You want to figure out what do you believe in because of the things that you have experienced. And you want a total transformation in the area of believing in something again, despite what you have been through in the past. So I really hope that works out with you and your loved ones and yourself. And love yourself despite what people think about you or perceive you as, because Libra, I know that sometimes you wait for external validation. That validation should come from the inside. All right, Scorpio. Pluto will retrograde the 3rd house, which means that here we go again. Another breakdown that you thought you could avoid, right? Or you're going back into the darkness of your mind. Maybe it could be your car breaking down again. Maybe you need to get a remodel of your car. I don't know. But it's asking you to revisit your mindset. What have you been saying to yourself? What affirmations have you been having to yourself? And how has it affected your immediate surroundings, right? What you say plays out in your life, and it affects who you are immediately, because you're the first person to hear your thoughts, good, bad, ugly, scary, funny, all that. It's all you. It's going to hit you first because it started with you and it will end with you. Now with Mercury entering the 8th house in Gemini, you're going to be more curious about transformation. You will have more of a lightheartedness to going back to the 8th house, because you're at home with discovering things, with the occult, with death, with psychology. You're at home with those things. So it will be a kind of lightheartedness if you think about it, because it's nothing to you. But it's kind of switched here. right? Because Mercury is comfortable in that third house and Pluto's comfortable in the opposite house that Mercury be transforming in. So it will be kind of wonky when you find yourself looking at the dark side with enthusiasm and then the light side, everyday mindset in a darker area. But I believe that you can integrate these two things and have them marry each other in a harmonious way. At least that's what Pluto retrograde and Capricorn want you to do. They want you to structure your mind, to structure yourself, to gladly skip through the darkness and transform into a beautiful phoenix. So my heart goes out to you, Scorpio. Sagittarius, Pluto will be retrograding in your second house, asking you to revisit your values. Do you really value yourself? Or have you been putting on another act of putting yourself on the high horse and making it seem like you have everything together and judging people from afar? Yes, that shade. So what? It's asking you the things that you have, maybe you should get rid of them. Maybe they're outdated. Maybe the way you think is outdated. Maybe you don't know the answer to everything. Maybe you need to learn more and see what it is that you also have been keeping to yourself that's kind of poisonous. You know, let it go. Sagittarius always finds something great, like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because you're a lucky sign. But I do see that you are possessing some things that are holding on to some things, maybe some people that are not good for you. It is affecting you subconsciously. But Sagittarius, you are always up for a change and a challenge. You are the centaur. You search for truth. You are blunt. You can handle anything. So anything that you have, you can let go, because you know at the end of the day, in the deep recesses of your mind, that you'll get something even better. The universe will give you with something even better. Now, Mercury and Gemini will be transiting the seventh house of relating. So like I said, it goes back to that. You may be thinking that you won't find another partner or a business partner or a best friend. But the thing is that there are people everywhere. You're always communicating. People are always passing different people. And through that, through you finding your value, you will find people that actually fit into your life. You just have to let go of the people who do not benefit you anymore, and the habits that do not benefit you, and the things that you hoard that are worn out, that you know you need to let go of, okay? Because we know Sagittarius don't like staying stuck in the same place, so let's just keep it moving, all right? Capricorn, you have Pluto retrograding the first house, so here we go back into the recesses of your mind and your body, right? What is it that is going to affect you personally that you thought that you've refined? Maybe you hate coming off as Little Miss Perfect. Maybe you weren't perfect after all, and now you have to deal with some even deeper issues that you just can't get rid of or work yourself out of, or having goals and things distract you, or strenuous workout routines at the gym to distract you, or music that will keep you from digging into yourself and seeing the scarier parts of you. Capricorn has a smile, but behind that smile is a lot of darkness that you have been through. And it doesn't matter about how many times you try to disguise yourself in your successes, and how much a leader you try to come off to your friend group or to any other organization. If you are not dealing with your personal problems, then you will become a virus and a problem for someone else. Even when you do come off happy, you may snap. All right, you're going to be transforming again. Take it easy on yourself. Life is not perfect, and you shouldn't judge people for being imperfect too. Mercury will be in transiting the sixth house of health. So there will be a lot of busy activity around that in your routine. You are very funny about your routines, but I could see that you'll get a little shaky. Um, and I think it's to blame for the Pluto retrograde in your first house is to blame, but it'll be okay. This transit is for 6 months. You cannot skip over transformation. You will find yourself probably not looking the same or feeling the same, but if you answer to Pluto's calling of actually doing the hard work personally for you, because it's all about you at this moment, then you could come out alive on the other side. So good luck to you. All right, so Aquarius, you have Pluto retrograde in the sign of Capricorn in the 12th house of the psychology. Ooh, Pluto and Capricorn in the 12th house in the subconscious. Oh my gosh, darkness, darkness, darkness. Aquarius is already ruled by Saturn, but it's the light side of Saturn. Capricorn is the dark side of Saturn. Aquarius, you guys are geniuses. You're good at the clapbacks, but there's something eccentric about you. These irritable moods that you're in that stem from an even darker place, a psychological itch that needs to be scratched. You've been running away from yourself, and now is the time to run to yourself. You have no other choice but to go to a counselor, right? To go dive into the depths of your subconscious to tweak something. You may have been trying to hide your trauma, but it follows behind you and everyone is able to see it. Now, does it mean that you can't have fun? No. Mercury will be transiting your 5th house. So even though you may be going into sort of a transformation that is ugly, it could be a deep depression, Mercury in the 5th house during this time will kind of lift you up a little bit and say, guess what, it's still okay to have fun. Yeah, the parts of your day you may slip into these dark moods, but remember that there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and to take time out for yourself to have fun again, but not at the expense of yourself at this time. So good luck to my Aquarius friends. I know that you guys are lighthearted and fun and stuff, but you also go through things as much as Capricorn's, your other Saturnian sibling. Now, it's the end all be all, the sign that takes in everything and merges with everyone, Pisces. You'll have Pluto retrograding your 11th house of friendship, goals, dreams, and organizations. What about your friends? Will they stand your ground? Will they let you down like that TLC song? Pisces, you're very empathetic, you're a giving person, but you need to watch out who you socialize with. Everybody that's broken is not a good person. Everybody that looks put together is still not a perfect person. You'll be revisiting who you can or cannot trust, who you have in your business or should not have in your business, or which friends you should do business with or not. It can also have you be more intensely focused on your own personal dreams and your goals. Pisces is an escapist, but Pluto is asking you to go back and revisit your dreams and your goals so that you can accomplish these things. And in a sense, it could it could lead you to a higher path. It could change your belief about yourself and say, you know what, I can do it. I can be a productive human being if I set my mind to the things that I've always daydreamed about and actually did something and actually take you places. You know what I mean? You can also have worldwide success if you actually put the time and attention into these projects. And yes, I'm speaking to myself because I have my moon in this sign. It's also something that I'm going through. So with this forecast, you know, the sun, moon, and the rising, it does resonate. But anyway, back to you guys. Mercury will be transiting your 4th house of emotions in Gemini, so you can feel for these couple of weeks with Mercury being in Gemini, that you will have experienced some type of anxiety. You already pick up on a lot of things. You could be hearing things that people are saying with their mind and not their mouth, which is kind of a fun gift, but an irritable gift as well. You can see yourself trying to move homes. I think you're moving homes. Are you moving homes? You're moving something. You're moving something, but you're having fun doing it. Again, this is also linked to a goal. Maybe you have a goal around changing your emotions, like I said earlier, and being productive. And it could also be making changes to your living space. So I hope that whatever you're doing in those regards, that it turns out for your benefit, because Pisces needs an anemone to go home to. Get it? Because you guys, the mermaid, the fish. And if you believe that you could create that sanctuary, not only in your home, but in your emotions, you absolutely can. So that has been my forecast for all signs for this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn at 29th degree, and Mercury ingressing into the sign of Gemini up until the 26th of June this month. I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope that you found something from this forecast that you can heal from. Target that thing, because if you're not, Pluto will target you and then pull you back to make sure that you pass this test and you study rigorously. Did I say that right? I don't know, but this whole 6-month period is going to be a test that you cannot cheat yourself out of like you did back in 2020. All right.